Welcome to Impact Wrestling. Whew, sorry if I seem to be a bit tired. It is freaking 90 degrees in my apartment. This is November and the weather is very sketchy, so landlord pumps a huge amount of heat into the apartment buildings because in New York it's required after November that you get heat. But oh my gosh, if you guys want to lose weight, move to New York in an old building that has that super high heat going 90. You will either lose weight or you will collapse by heat exhaustion. That's the truth. And admittedly, that was one of the problems I had with this show today. The heat made me tired. So I actually fell asleep like 5 minutes before the match was supposed to start between Moose and Willie Mack. So I did miss about 5 minutes of it, but I did see enough of it to get a good gist of how Moose has become. Moose is extremely aggressive, which is really good. I'm enjoying the aggression. But the question for me is this: what are they going to do with Moose and the TNA title? It's still a prop, and I wish it wasn't, but it is one. And you wonder if they continue pushing Moose. Will he go to Rich, counting if he still had the title? Will they eventually try to combine the titles and make something new? I don't know. But I am enjoying this higher level of aggression, this hitman mentality like we saw from Low-Ki. For me personally, that's how it feels. Now, you got Suicide versus Gino. And this was not about them. This was about Joe Doring. Now, I did not see Turning Point. I actually forgot. And unfortunately, I did not remember in time. Now, I did check to see if there was a way to see Turning Point, and it looks like there might be. Now, if anybody wants me to do a review of Turning Point, even though it is several days afterward, you guys just leave a comment below. But I probably will check it out to see before I can't watch it anymore. But if you want a review, just tell me below. Now, supposedly, Eric Young looks like he's his manager. I don't know how to feel about that. I understand they gotta have something for Eric Young to do. And I'm glad they're doing it. Eric is a great talker and this can put another talent over. But I really expected Eric to have a longer run than he had. Now mind you, I like that Rich Swann is champ. They can go in many directions. I am not fond of the directions they've been going lately, particularly that, wait a minute, and I will explain my thoughts on what happened with Sammy supposed to go up against Rich. But you wonder about the build of Rich Swann. You just wonder if they're going to understand, and I'm talking about creative, how they're going to book this guy to make him interesting, to stretch it before the next pay-per-view of Hard to Kill. It's just me, guys, tell me below. Now, Rhino, as well as the Heath, got their butts kicked by Joe and EY. It kind of writes them off TV for a little while. It writes Heath off the TV, which, if they are going at that angle, maybe they can do something with him. Or he'll come back. I don't know. But they really want to put Joe Doring over. Destroying Rhino, destroying Heath is a good thing, but I'm wondering what's going to happen to Heath and Rhino. Because they just did a storyline with them, and now Heath's not supposed to be there, and now they had to write him off, so you never know. Now, we had Brian Myers versus Crazy Steve. I don't know where they're going with him. I'm wondering, what is he going to accomplish in Impact Wrestling? I'm not saying he didn't have a great build. Actually, no, I can't lie. He didn't have a great build. They could have built him with Tommy Dreamer. They could have made this about Tommy being the guy who brought him into wrestling in WWE. Yes, it's about WWE, but it doesn't matter. They could have made it into a real story that he's disgruntled what happened, and he blames Tommy for it, and they could have built a story around it, and they did not. So it just feels empty to me personally. Swaggle being there, I don't know if he's now signed with Impact Wrestling. I think he is. I don't know. It just feels like they could have done more with him, and I do not agree with it. That's just me, guys. Tell me below. Now, when it comes to Tommy Holmes Sherlock Holmes equivalent. He's still trying to find who shot Bravo. Now, supposedly the Deaners set up a Johnny Swinger saying, hey, check that fanny pack. There might be something in there. And you actually, it's in my face. I don't even know if I got the shot at him with the gun. You got Johnny Swinger with the damn gun. With a gun, not the damn gun. With a gun. And you're now going to do wrestle court. Really? I don't know how to feel about this. It feels like a knee-jerk reaction. It's not a bad knee-jerk reaction, but how are they going to write themselves out of this situation? If this is not the end of it, it's not Swinger who did it. Why would you go there? And I'm hoping they write it properly for next week, because if they don't, and they make this look wrong, what was the point of this in the first place? To me personally, Swinger's comic relief, and some people like him, some people don't. I don't mind him, but you got to make sure you set this up right to make this mean something, because if Swinger's not the one who did the shooting and you got him with a gun, you got to make sure next week that this makes sense, and it's got to be a funny something because it's about Swinger, he's funny, and it continues the story. If it don't do it right, they're going to get shitted on, and I'm going to shit on them. I'm being honest here, guys. You may like it. I know there's more than a few people that are liking the storyline. But I'm being honest here. If they don't make it right, I'm going to shit on it. No matter if you guys love it. It will be shit if they don't set up Swinger properly to make that look good if he's not the one who shot Johnny Bravo. They better make it right. I'm just saying. Because they devote a lot of time to this. Now, the Knockouts Tag Tournament. Here's the stats in my face. They're bringing in a couple of people I do recognize and some I do not. Renee Michelle, I do remember. I do recognize, and I would marry that woman in a second. She's that damn gorgeous. Of course, she would not have me, but I would if she would let me. But it's good to see they're bringing in people to try and make this feel like a real tournament. Now, let's make this very quick about the match. When it came to Nevaeh and Havoc versus Alyssa and Tennille Dashwood, I didn't expect those two to win. I expect Havoc and they're in my face, I believe. Nevaeh. I'm mispronouncing her name. I think the reason I'm mispronouncing is my fear. Look, we know they don't have enough women to fill the entire division and fill the singles division as well. We know these women are going to be doing double work. Now, there are two ways they can make this work. One, some of the women will be in the tag division, some will be in the main title division, and they will bring in older wrestlers who once was in Impact Wrestling to supplement periodically, or they will bring in independents to come in and work Impact, but they will not be signed. And it could be for either way. You got older female wrestlers who used to be for Impact come in and they're not signed, and then you have independents who come in that are not signed just so to have someone or someones to fill in the gap for their division. Now, that would be the wisest thing to do if they just cannot afford bringing people in. Look what happened with Jordynne Grace. She's now asking a former, well, not a former wrestler, but a wrestler who's supposedly retiring to ask her to come in and be her partner. That could be ODB. I don't know if ODB is retiring. She might. But that could be ODB. It could be ODB. It could be a Velvet Sky. It could be a... I kind of wish to be Angelina Love. That maybe she's fully retired from wrestling, or she's about to retire. Maybe she did work while her husband's still working as a paramedic. I don't know. But they're bringing in somebody to team up with Jordynne Grace. That probably is a former Impact wrestler or TNA wrestler. And you never know who it could be. But they're bringing in older wrestlers or independent wrestlers. The question is, are they signed? Because remember, this is about if they sign anybody. If they don't, they got to keep rotating people in from the outside, either former old wrestlers, or independent wrestlers. They don't do it enough. They're just going to make the division look weak. It'll be worse than WWE. Let's hope it doesn't happen. Now, Falaba versus Hernandez. I guess they want to end their little rivalry because Hernandez won his money. He can't get his money because the Hood Rats got the money. Tasha Steele of the Hood Rats got the money. So they guess they wanted to get that match over with. And Hernandez is now going to try and get his money probably from the women and probably bring in some woman to try and nail those women to get his money back. That's going to be the question. When is that going to happen? If that even comes there. I'm moving on. We had, and I did say this could happen, and it looks like it might. You got Rohit Raju. He defended his title, but then you got Joe Doring destroying him. Well, not destroying, but pretty much interfering with it, if you want to be honest about it. As far as I can tell, he probably went in, interfered in the match, or maybe beat a little bit of Raju and his partner up that he was in the match with. I'm not sure, because I haven't seen Turning Point yet. But he says it was not fair that Joe Doring came in and messed up his moment. You need to do something. And Scott can't stand it. TJP appears, and he makes it very clear to TJP, I'm sorry. I wish there was another way around this. I know you for a long time, but as long as you're TJP, you cannot get a shot. And as I said before, they may be setting up for Manic to come back. Because we already just saw Suicide and Caleb Connery. Because Caleb is the one who's doing Suicide. It's got to be Manic. So Manic will be coming back. It's obvious. I knew it was going to come. And now you're going to have Manic. Not knowing if it's going to be good or not. But this is what you get. Now let's see. Am I forgetting anything? Oh, one last thing. The Nevaeh, I don't know why I botched before, Nevaeh and Havoc match. Tell me, do you actually buy that Alicia Edwards was the dominant force in that match? And Tennille Dashwood is doing nothing. I want to say this clear. I'm not against Alicia. But I do believe she's more of a manager class than she is a heavy wrestler. It doesn't mean she can't wrestle. Just because she's been in the business a decade does not make her a great wrestler or a good wrestler. She's an okay wrestler that, by my perspective, should do managing more than she should be doing wrestling. I think she'll probably get over a little bit more. But that's just me, you guys. Tell me below. Finally, it's finally over. 2 years. The Rascals is done. Now, of course, we can talk about what happened with when it came to after the match, and you get Ken Shamrock, you get the Sami Callihan destroying the Rascals and destroying Rich, so they can set up what's going to happen next week between him and Ken. Yeah, I could say that, but there's no real reason to talk about that because we already know it's going to be something then. This is about the Rascals, and this is not about the match, even though it was a good match. Look, guys, I've said this for 2 years when it was obvious that the Rascals were not going to be pushed in a proper manner, that this was a joke. They were, and I say it again, no matter if anybody agrees with me or not, they were New Day Light. There were 3 guys who were actual friends that Impact Management, either they or Impact Management said, we need to have a New Day competitor. So we're going to put you guys together. Either they wanted it or the creative team decided it. It makes no difference. That is what they were booked as. And for 2 straight years, this is what we got. Now look, months ago, New Day ended. Once Xavier Woods came back, once they got the titles, they split them up. During the brand split. During the draft. Not brand split. During the draft. Now, Big E's on SmackDown, Kofi and Xavier's on Raw, and look at the Rascals. Now they're leaving. Now, am I happy they're leaving? Hell yeah, I am. But not the way you think. Let's be honest here. Every last one of them is great talent. Desmond Xavier, I believe, is the best wrestler amongst all 3. Once is really good. And Trey's really good, but what have they really accomplished? And I posed this to everyone to leave a comment to tell me why they should have stayed in Impact. Why they should have stayed when they have done everything they can and got nowhere. They tried to get the tag titles more than once. They tried 5 times at least to try and get the titles when it was up against LAX, the North, the OGs. When it came to, look, the Deaners, Reno Scum, they have wrestled everyone in the company. They've had 5, maybe 4 or 5 times they had the chance to get the titles and they never got it. Look at Trey, the one that was allowed to break away from the Rascals. What did he accomplish? Yes, he had a storyline with Ace Austin about his mom. What did he get? Did he actually beat Ace Austin? No. Never really did. He always got his butt kicked. Yeah, he got put over. He did get somewhere as an underdog, but what did he really gain? Nothing. He gained nothing. He never got the X Division title. Yes, he went into the world title picture and he had an X Division title shot, but he never won either one, and in the end, he ended back up with the Rascals. So you guys tell me, what did they have to, why should they stay? Creative was never going to give them anything substantial. It's not like they were New Day in WWE where they won the title more than 4, 5, 6, 7-time champs. Kofi became the first of them to win the WWE title. Not the world title, the WWE title. I don't see Trey or Desmond Xavier winning the Impact Championship. Neither one of them did. Or went. They never went there. So what did they actually have? Nothing. And it's sad. You got 3 incredibly talented and charismatic guys that could have been taken in different directions. You could have actually had a feud between all 3 of the Rascals. You could have Wentz when you had that moment before you knew it was Madman Fulton. Before you knew anything, you could have had Wentz angry about Trey getting his shot, and you could have had those 2 fight one another and gave the Rascals a new dynamic. Yes, you would have had to break them up to fight one another, but you know what? It would have been worth it. Hell, you could have Desmond Xavier be the one that was against both of them, and he could have been something interesting. No. Either they didn't want to do it, those 3, or creative didn't even care to do it. Nothing. So I say this to all 3 of those guys. I'm glad they're gone. Not because I found them to be garbage as wrestlers or characters. Their characters were never great. But that was because they were never pushed. They were always considered comedic relief with no real goal. And now they could go to AEW. I'm hoping they'll go to WWE because they would end up, pretty much if they were allowed to go to NXT, they will end up on 205 Live. 205 Live is where they would probably end up eventually. They would go to NXT as a group. They would probably do very well there. And eventually they go to 205 Live and they would end up with nothing. So that's what I think would happen to them if they do. AEW, they're going to have a harder time because there's so many tag teams there. Maybe if they go to MLW or ROH, they would stand a better chance. I would think the best option with New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's what I think would be best for all 3 of them. Go there. The country is not too bad when it comes to covert. It's the best option for them. Leave the country, go to Japan, and stay there for a while. That would be the best option. 3 great wrestlers that could be a triple tag team. But that's just me. You guys tell me below. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.